Good morning everyone. I hope you all are doing good. Welcome to Tathastu-ICS. My name is Pooja Sharma and I am your current affairs faculty. So today we are going to discuss the Hindu newspaper. Just a second. So this is the QR code for our Telegram channel. If you are going to join that, you can get the access of the PDFs of these DNA sessions. Okay, so let's see which news we are going to cover today. So these are the important news. The first article is related to your one nation, one election. One nation, one election. Right? The present 129 constitutional amendment bill is there. And after that we are going to discuss, along with that we are going to discuss about the representative democracy also, the kind of democracy we have in India. Okay, good morning everyone who are online. Good morning. Good morning all of you. So this article actually going to tell us about what is the weakness of representative democracy in general, and there is a context of Jayaprakash Narayan also. So he has given his views on representative democracy, that what are the drawbacks of this kind of democracy and how can we overcome it. And that's why this particular article is relating to the one nation one election also, that because election expense is also one of the important drawback of representative democracy. How can we change it? So we are going to discuss that in this particular article. Then there are another article which is related to the impeachment of judges in our country. Okay, so the article is comprehensively covering the how the judges are being removed in our country and what are the challenges, how many judges has already been impeached. There were only 2 judges which have been repealed till now, that's it, not more than that. And what are the challenges related to that, who hold the power and how the mechanism go on, what is the drawback of that mechanism and how can we change it. So this article actually going to contain all those aspects, again very important for UPSC. Again the third is related to our logistic sector. You know that logistic sector is very important for the economic development of a country. If there will, logistics means all kind of roads, railways, how the product from one place can reach to the other place, so that is known as logistic. And India, the one major drawback is that we have very high logistic cost in our country. So what government has done, government has taken so many steps so that this logistic cost in our country can reduce, because it is eventually going to reduce the price of the product. So what are those factors? Is those factors paid off or not? But the article is saying that yes, the effort which has been done by the government has paid off, and we are going to recently our logistic cost is actually reducing there day by day, and the infrastructure in logistic is improving day by day. So it is again a very important article for UPSC's examination. Then there is another article related to the widening of Suez Canal. We all know that Suez Canal is connecting the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. It is in Egypt, and its Suez Canal is actually was a very innovative idea. How can we facilitate, how can we reduce the distance between Europe and the Asian or the Africa, you can say that, so that the trade from Indian side can easily go towards the European side. So Suez Canal was a very innovative measures. Now there are so many issues related to the ocean currents and other kind of issues related to the Houthi rebels, and the conflict is going on in this region also. You all know that Israel-Palestine conflict is going on, which is not very far away from the Suez Canal. So there is a talk of widening of Suez Canal. So we are going to discuss that article also, and what are the issues related, why are we widening this Suez Canal. Then again other article is related to your ISRO's this year's last project, that is Space DEX, which is actually related to the docking and undocking of satellites in the docking and undocking of satellite in the space. So we are going to have a demonstration of that, which is going to put us at a very good position in the world scenario when it comes to docking and undocking in the space. And we are also going to have our Gaganyaan project. So such kind of experiments, if we are going to have expertise on that, they are going to help us out in our other space missions as well. So let's start today's discussion. So the first article is related to your one nation, one election. The two aspects are going to be covered. The one is what is one nation, one election. Always we have seen so many articles related to that, and how it is linked to the representative democracy. So there are two aspects of this particular article. So the context is that we all know that a constitutional amendment bill, 129th constitutional amendment bill is there in the parliament, and it is actually seeking to have a simultaneous election in our country. Right now the elections of central, elections of Lok Sabha and elections of state legislative assemblies are held separately, but the idea of this bill is to have a simultaneous election. This is the meaning of one nation, because we are one nation, we are unitary nation also along with the federal principles, and there should be, for if the nation is one, the election should also be the one. Reason being that it is going to the administrative cost is going to get down, and there is so much spending on the election. If there are multiple elections, there will be more spending, more cost is going to be there. So that can also reduce. So it is more because of administrative convenience we are having this simultaneous election, but obviously simultaneous election has its negatives as well. Now since when it is going to start, actually the elections are going to, the 2034 elections are going to be the simultaneous election, not the next one, 2029 one, not the 2029 one. The simultaneous election will be there from 2034, right? Now they are going to be amendment, there are going to be insertion of one new article, that is 82A, and along with that the article 83, article 172 and 327 are also going to get amended. So this is the context of this particular article. Now let's understand what is the final debate. So debate is very simple. We have read this debate many times in our newspaper. So let me summarize the debate. So there is a debate related to the administrative efficiency vis-a-vis the democratic concerns. So the government is on the side of administrative efficiency. It means if there will be simultaneous election, if we are going to have one nation, one election, then it is going to be administratively efficient for our country. How come? Because it is going to reduce the administrative cost. Because if there are different elections, one Lok Sabha elections, then we have multiple state assembly election, right? Let's say in a particular year there is one Lok Sabha election and there are 7 state assembly elections, so 8 different elections were there. So why to have 8 elections? And every year we are witnessing election in one or another state, right? So what is the idea? Idea is that let's have only one election, one Lok Sabha election, and all the state assembly election should be merged with this election only, right? So it is definitely going to reduce the administrative cost. Now the Election Commission of India need not to be on its toes every year. Then at every 5 years only Election Commission of India need to recruit or the officers and the other. You all know that there are so many, we need human resource for conduct of elections. If we are going to need that kind of human resource on every year, it is better that we are going to have that kind of, we are going to need that kind of human resource only once in 5 years. So the whole idea is reducing the administrative cost also, and in general election cost also. Election cost, you all know that when there is Lok Sabha election, for example, a particular party is going to spend a lot, right? And now there, if next year there is an election in a state legislative assembly, now the same party is going to spend other large chunk of money in the state legislative assembly as well. So by having one election or simultaneous election, this election expense or election spending is also going to go down, and that election spending can be used for other developmental purpose, right? Developmental purpose. Okay, so this is the idea of one nation, one election, that is, it is finally going to bring administrative efficiency. Okay. Someone is saying voter turnout is going to increase. Okay, there can be one factor, voter turnout going to increase, but again even if there are going to be 2 elections, even then the voters turnout in our country are increasing year by year. So that is not that much a big problem for our country. Again, so if there is a simultaneous election, then what are the concerns? Now the concerns are the democratic concern. What kind of democratic concerns we have? We have the first democratic concern is related to the federalism. Okay, experts are saying that it is actually undermining the federalism. Federalism means the states also have their say. If there will be simultaneous election, then the issues which are there at the national level are going to dominate over the issues which are at the local or state level, right? So there are concerns related to federalism. Other than that, this particular bill has concern related to public participation also. Why? This bill, this actually, you know that when there is a important bill which concern the public, then that particular bill is there in the public domain also for the suggestions. But so, and according to the rules and regulation, it should be, there should be 30 days in which the suggestion should be taken by the public. But in this particular case, which is a very important decision for our democracy, only 10 days were given for public to give their opinion, and the questions were also in the form of yes and no, yes or no form. Okay, there were no descriptive answer a public could have given. So public participation is also one of the issue when it comes to this particular case in our country. Other than that, there was an issue related to electoral accountability in the representative democracy, that if there is going to be simultaneous election, the electoral accountability of our politicians are going to go down. Why is that? Because now the politicians are going to be there judged by the public once in 5 years. If there are multiple elections, then the politics of a country is going to judge every year, and the people of the India, they have the chance to correct the politician every time, right? So here accountability is going to reduce a bit. So these are actually the democracy related concern when it comes to one nation, one election or simultaneous election. Now the author is also talking about the representative democracy. Now first let's understand what representative democracy is. Okay. So let's understand representative democracy. Democracy and representative democracy means rule of people. Okay. Rule of people. People are the one who are going to choose, who are going to rule. People are the ruler here. They are going to rule, but they are not going to have a direct democracy. So our democracy is not direct democracy like the kind of democracy there in Switzerland, where the people are going to decide on the acts or the bill, etc. and etc. But here we are not the one who are going to vote on the bills. Okay, who is going to vote on the bills? Our representative. Who are our representative? Our representatives are those people who are sitting in the parliament or the state legislative assembly, right? So parliament is basically representative of people only. So they are the one who are going to decide on our behalf. So they are the decision maker. But this decision should be in favor of public, because it's the public who has put those people in the parliament to take decision on their behalf. So here this is known as a representation, and the rule by the people is known as a democracy. So democracy, rule by people. Representative means not direct democracy. Representative means democratic values by choosing a representative. And representative democracy के heart में क्या है? Representative democracy is actually based on the elections. Okay, because elections are going to decide who is going to sit for as a representative of people. So that's why elections are very important when it comes to representative democracy. Now what are the benefit of representative democracy? That it is a majority rule. Okay, it balances the majority rule with the protection of minority interest also, right? How come? Because now the representative minority people can also have their own representation in the parliament, so that person is going to take care of the interest of the minority also. So there are so many advantage of representative democracy. These are only few which are mentioned by the article. Other than that, it is critical in diverse and populous country like India, because India is a diverse country. It is not even possible for a country, such a big country with such a large population and diverse population, to have direct democracy. We cannot have the opinion of public on each and every bill. We cannot let them to decide as per the voting, okay, because then no bill is going to get passed in our country. So such kind of representative democracy, such kind of idea is actually necessary or critical for a country like India, right? Now again, the system thrives on what? I have already told you, it thrives on elections. But what kind of election? Periodic election. If elections are periodic, then it is going to be in the benefit of the democracy only. Informed citizen partnership. The partnership of citizens should be also there. Though there are representative also, but the bills, the decision which is being taken by the parliament should be there in the public domain also, so that the people can also give their opinion. Not only a bunch of people are going to decide on the very important matters when it relates to democracy. Again, institutional checks and balances. In our country, we have all kind of a mechanism. We have periodic election in our country. Along with that, we have the system of citizen partnership also, right? We have this website like mygovernment.com, where you can go and give your suggestions as well, and most of the bills are in the public domain also, so that we can give our suggestion. But right now in a representative democracy, we can only give suggestions. We cannot vote upon that. Who are going to vote upon the bill? Only the people who are sitting in the parliament are going to vote upon that. Again, we have institutional checks and balances also. You all know that there is executive and there is legislative. The both executive is accountable to legislative, right, and legislature are accountable to people, and judiciary is there for the checks and balance also. If some kind of bill or law is getting passed which is against the constitutional norm, then the judiciary is also going to come into the scene. So we have all kind of checks and balances, citizen partnership, periodic election in our country. But again, we have so many issues related to representative democracy also. Okay, so the idea is the great, but the now article is actually mentioning a report, okay, a research done by a PW research institution. Actually, they asked the people in 24 nations where democracy is thriving right now, such as India and Brazil, and they ask about, do you think that a democratic representative democracy is good for a country? So this questions was asked from them. Now the people's response was not very positive when it comes to representative democracy. They actually mentioned the alternative form of government also, such as they mentioned, why don't we have direct democracy? They were more in favor of direct democracy, or the expert rule, or even they favor the authoritarian regimes also, because they think that if such kind of regime is there, the country can have better economic development, right? But again, there are so many drawbacks of expert rule, and there are so many as possible drawbacks of authoritarian regime as well. But the people in those countries who are already enjoying the representative democracy, they are not very happy with the democratic system, including India. Okay, so obviously there are so many issues when it comes to democratic representative democracy. Now the article is also mentioning one important historian, Jayaprakash Narayan. Okay, he was a politician. So he also gave his critique when it comes to representative democracy. So some of them was mentioned by him. For example, he said that representative democracy actually suffered from populism, right? What is the meaning of populism? It means the political parties are going to manipulate the opinion of people, okay, by saying some half truths, empty promises, right, and divisive rhetoric, right? They for the sake of the voting they can say something which is not in the long term favor of the people only. For the short term gain they actually destroy the long term gain, right? So such kind of issues are there with the representative democracy because they want to sit in the parliament. Other than that, by this such kind of democracy, centralization of power is the another issue. What is the meaning of centralization of power? It means now the parliament is going to decide everything. So the role of the intermediary institution is going to go down. The role, even in our country, we all know that India is a federal country, but it has a great unitary bias. Okay, so the parliament is always going to be, parliament has always been stronger than the state legislature in our country, right? The third issue is related to the financial cost of elections, right? Financial cost of elections means the cost, if there are in country like India, we see that when the elections are going on, a large amount of money is being spent on the campaigning of those elections. Not only the money spent by the political parties, the money spent by the candidate, the money spent by the government also, right? Election Commission of India also need to facilitate democracy in such a large country with such a large population. So representative democracy is also not immune of any kind of issues. There are issues related to such kind of democracy as well, which some of them were highlighted by Jayaprakash Narayan. Now the article is talking about what are the shortcomings in this present one nation one election consultation process, that the people were not consulted properly. For example, first of all, there should be a minimum 30-day consultation period, right? But it was not so. Only 10-day consultation period was given to the public, because this bill was there in the public domain for public opinion also, but only 10 days were given, and those such questions only had this yes or no only, that's it. No comprehensive answer could be given by the citizens. Other than that, the framing of questions and the lack of explanatory material, no notes, no background paper were attached to that. So the author is saying that, the article is saying that the consultation process is again had so many shortcomings. Other than that, what are the challenges to representative democracies other than the mentioned by Jayaprakash Narayan? But one nation one election is actually related to the one of the issues which are mentioned by the Jayaprakash Narayan also. For example, the issues related to centralization and federalism, right? If there is going to be simultaneous election, it is going to definitely undermine the federalism. Again, the issue is related to inclusivity and participation. We all know that the process has been rushed, like we saw. The consultation process was not very effective. So we can say that it was a kind of rushed process. So rushed process actually sidelined the voices of citizens. So it lacks inclusivity and it lacks participation of people also. And it is such a simultaneous election is a very important decision when it comes to democratic process. Other than that, the issues related to electoral accountability, it means frequent election actually keep the political parties in checks. But if there will be no frequent election, only one election after 5 years, then in between those years there will be very less chance where the citizens will have the power to correct the politicians as well. So again, the electoral accountability is going to get reduced only. But what we should do, if we are going to move forward, the accountability should be increased. It should not be decreased with time, right? So this was all about this article. Again, this article was telling us about two things. What are the issues related to simultaneous elections? Okay, what are the issues related to simultaneous elections, especially when it comes to the consultation process? This article actually mentioned the issues raised by Jayaprakash Narayan when it comes to representative democracy, and this article has also told us about the representative democracy in general and why the people are actually losing their faith in the representative democracy, which has been actually like a pillar of the governance for so many countries for such a long period of time. Now let's come to our next article. Again, this article is a very interesting article. What is the context here? The context is actually related to the case of Justice Shekhar Kumar Yadav. We all know that he went to in a summit of Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and he actually given some statement which was derogatory to the Muslim community of our country, right? Again, there was so much critique, he was criticized at so many media platform or in general also, but impeachment process was also initiated in Rajya Sabha, but nothing concrete has been done yet. So the article is actually in the light of such kind of incident. The article is talking about the impeachment process, or we can say the removal of judges in our country, and how effective this mechanism is. Because if there is such kind of removal process is fair, then only we can say that the judges in our country will be accountable to people also. Okay, they are not going to say whatever comes to their mind. But in our country, only judges can be removed only on one condition: proved misbehavior or proved misbehavior. But misbehavior sometimes it's very, you know, it is very analytical. It is not defined in our constitution, or it was not even defined by the judiciary ever. Proved misbehavior or incapacity. So what is the proper meaning of incapacity or proved misbehavior? Now this incident has actually reignited the concerns about the accountability mechanism for judges of the higher judiciary in our country. So let's understand the article. First of all, let's understand what is the current mechanism for judicial accountability. Everything is actually, we have two kind of organizations are there going to play. The one is the judges themselves, group of judges, and the another is the parliament. So these two organizations are finally going to decide how they can remove the judges of higher judiciary. So Judges Inquiry Act 1960 Act actually gives us the procedure or mention how the judges can be removed in our country, and only one phrase is mentioned: proved misbehavior and incapacity, right? Incapacity. But again, misbehavior and incapacity, these are just the words which are mentioned. This phrase is not actually defined in this particular act, right? Again, it is according to this act, this proved misbehavior, incapacity is going to be defined by a 3-member committee. And who are going to be part of this 3-member committee? One judge of any judge of Supreme Court of India. There will be 3 members. One, any judge of Supreme Court of India, any judge. The second, one Chief Justice of the High Court. He has to be a Chief Justice. And third one is any eminent jurist. So all 3 members are from the judiciary only, first of all. Now, such kind of committee, 3-member committee, is going to be there only if there is a impeachment or removal process is being initiated in one of our house of parliament, either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So first there should be the removal process. So first there should be a motion for removal for the judges in any of our houses. Only after that, as per the Judges Act 1968, this 3-member committee is going to be there. So this 3-member committee is finally going to decide. So everything actually depend on 3-member committee, that the judge is guilty or judge is not guilty. After that, the decision of this committee is also going to be voted upon by the parliament, right? So which article actually deals with it? Now, for example, Article 124, Article 124, 5, 127, 170 and 270 and 218 of the Constitution, along with the Judges Inquiry Act 1968. Again, this is also very important. Parliament must approve the impeachment with 2/3 majority, or the majority in the House, right? So 2/3 majority होनी चाहिए या फिर absolute majority होनी चाहिए. So what is the process? First there has to be a impeachment motion in either house of the parliament. After that there will be the this 3-member committee as per the Judges Inquiry Act. That 3-member committee will have 3 members, one is from Supreme Court of India, another is should be the Chief Justice of High Court, and third one should be the eminent jurist. Now if these three members will decide that the judge is guilty, then the decision is again being voted upon by the parliament, and that particular decision should be backed by 2/3 majority or absolute majority in the parliament. If this whole process is complete, only then a judge can be impeached in our country. Okay, so the article is also talking about different cases. Okay, so the first case is related to the Justice V. Ramaswamy case, right? So the V. Ramaswamy case में क्या होता है? Actually, he was the first Supreme Court judge to face the impeachment, right? And why he was facing this impeachment? For having extravagant spending on his official residence, right? Again, three-member panel was there, and actually the panel found him guilty only. But despite the finding, the impeachment motion in Lok Sabha could not go through. Means in Lok Sabha, the decision by the panel was not backed by the absolute majority or 2/3 majority in our country, and Justice Ramaswamy continued the office till his retirement, and after post-retirement benefit were also taken by him. Okay, so even it was proved by the three-member committee that the judge was guilty, the parliament had the power to not to remove the particular judge. So this is one of the case. There were other cases also when the impeachment process was started. So there were two another case. The one was related to Justice Soumitra Sen, another was related to Justice P.D. Dinakaran. In the both cases, actually the process could not get completed. They resigned before the final decision was being taken, right? So what was the benefit of that? You know, resigning before the process is getting completed. So they could, if they could, अगर ये impeach हो जाते तो they were not going to get the post retirement benefits, but by resigning in between the process, they were entitled to get the post retirement benefits, right? Now again, what are the call for continued investigation? So the article is talking about why we should do that. Why resignation should not terminate investigation. So we need to have little bit changes, because our experience when it comes to impeachment of judges actually is telling us that the judges are giving their resignation before the process is getting complete. So we can have a little bit of change. What kind of change? For example, resignation should not terminate the investigation. If this change we can have one change, then the accountability of judges will be more in our country, right? So accountability involves both proving misconduct and impeachment, right? But the goal is not just removal but restoring public trust in the democracy. So we can include such kind of mechanism in the removal process of judges, so that we can restore the trust of the people in our judiciary, right? Again, what are the challenges related to judicial accountability? So the current system actually disproportionately shields judges in what sense? For example, elected official in our country, right? Those people who are there in the parliament, right? So elected official judges retain post-retirement perks even if they resign during investigation, right? So judges already have benefit when it comes to impeachment process or the removal process. Even they have the better benefit than the elected representative of our country. If a Lok Sabha member is being removed, he is not going to get the post-retirement benefit, but who is going to get? The judge is going to get the post-retirement benefit. They can actually retain. The process is susceptible to political influence, like we have seen in Ramaswamy case. Though he was proved guilty, the three panel member actually proved him guilty, but the Lok Sabha saved him. So the political influence saved him, and such kind of cases are there such kind of cases can be there in the future as well. So the political system is also interfering in them. Yes, Hussain, you are very much right. Okay, you are very much right. He is saying that accountability to be established and resignation should not terminate the investigation. So if resignation, even if there is resignation, if investigation is not dropping because of that, then they are not going to get the post retirement benefit. So this one change we can get. Now what can be the reform? Again the one is again repeating again and again, continue post resignation. So the investigation should continue after resignation also, and we need to strengthen the other mechanism, like we need to allow independent investigation without requiring impeachment motion. Right now the investigation by 3-panel committee can only be initiated if there is already a motion of the removal of judges in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Now the article is saying that one another reform we can have where this accountability can be checked even if there is no such motion in the parliament, right? So these changes we can have. Now let's come to our next article. So this is a bit factual article. This article is actually going to tell us about what is the how far we have come when it comes to the reform in the logistics sector in our country. Okay, so it is actually telling us the good outcomes of national logistic policy. Okay, we had this national logistic policy launched in 2022. There were few aims of logistic policy. What is the biggest problem with logistic in our country? The logistic cost. Okay, the cost of logistic is very high. Actually, it was when in 2022 we launched this particular policy, it was around 14 to 18%, right? 14 to 18% means if there is a product of 100 rupees, then out of those 100 rupees, the 14 to 18 rupees were spent only on logistic only. The product which is in your hand, if it is a 100 rupees product, for 14 rupees were spent so that that product can reach from its manufacturing place at your doorstep. So that is the meaning of logistic cost. So in India this logistic cost is very high. On the world average the logistic cost is actually 8% only. So it should be 8%. It cannot be 0, definitely, you know that, but it is 8%. But here in our country it is very high, it is 14 to 18%. So we need to reduce the logistic cost in our country so that the final price of product can also be reduced, right? Again the article is saying that the national logistic policy is actually doing good, and now this year we have reached to 10 to 14%. Again we need to take it down at 8% level. Other than that, we have a platform like Unified Logistic Interface Platform. So it is an online platform. What is the significance of this platform? By having such kind of platform, we actually could integrate the different ministry so that logistic reforms can be done. Let me give you one example. By integrating everything, for example, there is a road. Logistic means developing road also, one of the example, developing a road so that that product can reach from its manufacturing point to you in a swift manner, in a less cost. So one road is there and the government is actually trying to maintain the road. Now they need to have some underground wire also. So if the two ministries who wanted to have the electric wire underground, establish underground electric wire, or establishing the underground gas pipeline, so if they are going to have interaction with each other, then that road and underground pipeline or underground gas pipeline, everything can be done simultaneously so that the cost can be reduced. Otherwise the road is going to get digged again and again for the different purposes, right? So this is the significance of this unified logistic interface platform. Other than that, in this platform, if someone need to, this platform is going to give us information about all kind of logistic in our country, so that a person who is a manufacturer and the manufacturer need to, you know, to transport his product from one place to another place, then he actually can seek the solutions on this interface, right? So this interface also gave us a good edge. Other than that, by doing all those reforms, we actually has reached to the 38th rank in the World Bank Logistic Performance Index 2023. So Logistic Performance Index is given by World Bank, one thing you need to remember, and we have reached to 38th rank. But the target of national logistic policies, we need to reach to 25th rank in World Logistic Performance Index. We have time. Actually, this national logistic policy has given us time till 2030. That by 2030 we are going to reduce our logistic cost to 8%. Other than that, we are going to have the World Bank's Logistic Performance Index to 25th rank. So these are the targets. Okay, Chitra, we will conduct some session on that. If there is fast delivery, transport cost will become more high. No, fast delivery doesn't mean the cost is going to high. Fast delivery means the roads are good. There are multiple options. There is not only a road option. Right now in our country, the logistic infrastructure in road is more developed than the railways. Earlier it was railway, then it changed to the roads only, and the railway transportation through railway is always cheaper than the transportation through road. Okay, and the port connectivity. Why we are going to have this land infrastructure? We need to have the port infrastructure also. So why to have their logistic, the product from, for example, if in South India the product is going from Bombay to Kerala, so why that particular product should go by land? That product can go by the ocean also. Okay, so we need to have innovative ideas when it comes to logistic reforms in our country. No, I am not talking about priority delivery. It's not about priority delivery. It's about having such kind of infrastructure, robust infrastructure in our country, that the cost of transportation of one product from one place to another place can get reduced eventually. Okay, it is in the benefit of economy only. Now let's understand what is the meaning of logistic, okay, so that all of your doubts will be resolved here. So by this image only you can see what is the, for example, warehousing is also a part of logistic. So not only transportation is one of the example only. So warehousing, where the product is going to be there, so that also come under logistic. Consumer response, customer response also, planning, management also, supply also. So all these are the part of logistic only. So the reforms is needed in everything. For example, if warehousing is not proper, then the product, if the product is perishable, so the product is going to get damaged, right? So why to damage a product? We need to have a good warehousing, so the product should not get damaged, and the cost of logistic will go down. So logistic is the planning, coordination, storing and moving the resources. What resources? The resources are not only products, they can be people also, raw material also, inventory also, equipment also, from one location to another location, from production point to consumption, distribution or other production point. So this is a proper definition of logistic. Okay, so logistic is not only transporting one product from the other, it is just an example. Logistic contains all these factors. Along with that, logistic is not the only the transportation of products, transportation of people can be there, and not only the transport from the manufacturing site to the consumer, it can be the manufacturing site of one place to the another manufacturing site, because product can be improved. For example, there is a car manufacturing factory, then the tires are getting manufactured somewhere, so tires should go from one place to another manufacturing place only, right? So this is a proper definition of logistic. Now let's understand the key achievements which are being there by national logistic policy. So what the government has done. So first of all, we all know the government has launched PM Gati Shakti in 2021. It is also a part of improving the logistic in our country. PM Gati Shakti means there is so much investment was going on or is going on when it comes to infrastructure development in our country. So PM Gati Shakti is related to the development of infrastructure. Infrastructure means wahi road, railways, ports, okay, development of all these things. Then at ULIP we have more than 614 entities. You need not to remember the number of these entities. You only understand that how ULIP platform is benefiting when it comes to the reducing the cost of logistic in our country, right? Again, we have as per national logistic policy, we have national logistic marine policy also, right? Along with the electrification of railway, actually reduced the time of the travel of the freight railway in our country. Again, reduced truck waiting time at the borders, because if one truck is going from the border here, not the border of international border, here the border means the national borders. For example, one truck is going from Madhya Pradesh to Uttar Pradesh and it is crossing the border, then the waiting time was high before that because the checking and all, but now the waiting time has reduced. There are so many mechanisms. For example, one important innovation was the fast tag, so that at the tolls a truck should not be should not wait for a longer period of time. They can go in a fast manner. Again, this actually reduces their distances to 325 km per day. So these are the achievement actually being done is there because of the national logistic policy. Now, but what can be the challenges and what can be our future prospect? So what is the basic challenge? Obviously, logistic infrastructure development has always been the issue when it comes to the logistic cost in our country, but along with that we don't have a skilled workforce, okay, and our operation when it comes to logistic is not streamlined, okay, it is fragmented. So first we need to streamline the operation. Along with that we need to have skilled workforce. We all know that when it comes to the transportation sector, the workforce is not that skilled, but we need skilled workforce right now. Again, policies, we need policies which are going to support warehousing, right, along with that infrastructure development. Pending reforms are there. Indian port bill is still pending. Maritime connectivity projects are not speeding up. They should also speed up. Transitioning from land based to coastal transportation, this also something we need to focus on, because land based transportation will always be higher, its cost will always be higher than the coastal transportation. Again, I have already given you the example. If one product is going from Bombay to Kerala, then why that product is going by land? That product should go by the Arabian Sea only, right? So that's the future prospect. Now, what is the way forward? Way forward means advanced digitalization can be done. Data transparency can actually redefine the efficiency, along with the government initiative like Udan, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagarik, and productive linked incentives can drive the faster delivery and export expansion in our country. With 11.1% rise in capital expenditure on infrastructure. Actually, this year infrastructure development, not only this year, from last 2-3 years we are focusing more. Since when we have launched this PM Gati Shakti, we are focusing more on infrastructure development in our country, because infrastructure development is the capital formation. Okay, it is basically a capital formation which is going to give us outcome in the long run, right? So it has already increased, which is a good sign that the government is actually thinking about the infrastructure development, and infrastructure development is eventually going to benefit or reduce the logistic cost only. Okay, so this was, if we are going to have a 5 trillion economy by 2027, so these reforms we can merge with, and we are doing good only. So the crux of this article was basically that in India logistic cost was very high. We are really doing good. There are so many mechanism, national logistic policy, ULIP platform, such kind of mechanism, PM Gati Shakti infrastructure program is there, and we actually reducing the logistic cost day by day. But there are other way forward or other innovative ideas also. For example, having the coastal developing the coastal infrastructure as well. Let's do one very easy question. Okay, someone is asking, okay, there can always be role of tech giant when it comes to logistic policy. Okay, but again, the private companies are definitely going to have their interest above the interest of the government. Okay, tell me the answer of this question. Consider the following statement with respect to national logistic policy. First of all, it deals with logistic challenges of both national and international trade. Is it true? By logic, you tell me. I haven't mentioned it, but I want you to mention it along with this question. Yes, this is correct. Why would have a logistic policy only for the national challenges? Definitely, it is going to take care of national as well as international challenges. Second, India currently has higher share of rail than road in transportation for goods. No, this is not correct. This is incorrect. Right now, road infrastructure is more than the rail, which is unfortunate. There should always be rail infrastructure when it comes to transportation, more than the road one. Another, WTO is the one which releases logistic performance index. No, it's the World Bank. It is the World Bank. And India's rank, what was India's rank this time? 38. So correct answer is C. How many of you have given? Oh, all of you have given correct answer only. Good. Now let's come to our next article. This article is related to the widening of Suez Canal. First of all, let's see the location where this Suez Canal is there. Then we will say why 10-kilometer extension is going to be there. Right now there is only this trial run. So we all know that, okay, this is the map. So here we know that this is the Red Sea. So if we want to transport one good or service from here to here, earlier we needed to cross the Africa, and only after that we could reach at Europe. Vasco da Gama also came from this route only, right? Because here there was no this was only other than that there was only land route. There is no sea route. So this was the only sea route before. But then this area, this Suez Canal was very innovative idea, where the distance between east and the distance between the west actually reduced significantly. So the ships could go from here, from the Red Sea, and they could cross the Suez Canal and they could easily reach the Europe. Earlier the distance was very high. So it was a very innovative solution when it comes to the linking west with the east. You can see here also, and all of the Suez Canal actually lies in the Egypt. This is Sinai Peninsula. Sinai Peninsula. You have heard of Sinai Peninsula when it comes to the Israel-Palestine issue also. Once upon a time, Israel actually captured the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt, and we all know that the conflict is also going on here in this region. And this trade, this Suez Canal is very, very important when it comes to trade, because the most of the ships are going through this narrow passages only. All kind of ships which are going from eastern part, for example, ships from China, Japan, ships from the whole of the Southeast Asia, India, and the South Asia in general, those old ships are going to Europe through this small passage only, and similarly the ships from the Europe come to the eastern side through this small passage only. So you can see that this is a very, very small, and it is a man-made, passage. It is not a natural one, it's a man-made passage. So now there are so many problems, that's why they are actually trying to widen it. Okay, they wanted to widen it to 10-kilometer extension. So this is the context. Egypt has actually tested a 10-kilometer extension of Suez Canal to enhance navigation safety, minimize the impact of currents, and increase the canal capacity. And why we are doing that? Let's understand that also. Actually, the basic reason is the ocean current. Okay. What are the challenges related to that? So, what are the phases? Actually, the canal has challenges like ship running aground due to strong wind and the sandstorm. in 2021 what happened, there was the whole of the canal was actually blocked for nearly a week, and you can say that it is such a important transit route, and 1 week delay actually cost billions of dollars. Okay, so disruptions were worth billions of dollars. But this is not the only challenge. Because of that, we are widening the road. And when it comes to the Suez Canal, there are other challenges also, especially challenges because it is very near to the conflict area in our country, in our world. So the revenue from canal actually dropped by 70% since last year. Why is that? The main reasons were the Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels. So these Houthi rebels were actually operating very active in the Red Sea area. So they were actually attacking, or they were stopping the ships which were going through the Suez Canal in retaliation of the in support of the Palestine issue as well only. Now last article for today, it is actually related to the last mission of ISRO, which is going to go into the space, this year's last mission, not last mission at all. So this year's last mission is actually, name is Space DX mission, and it is going to go into the space with this vehicle PSLV C-60 mission. So Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle is going to take this mission to space. So there are 2 satellites right now. So these 2 satellites are going to go into the space. The name of the one is Chaser, another one is Target. Chaser and Target, by name you can understand. So one is going to be the Chaser, going to go behind, and one is the Target, and they are going to revolve around the Earth. So they are going to rotate, and they will be in moving position, and by in moving position only they are going to demonstrate this docking and undocking. Docking and undocking means in the space there are 2 spaceships. Now how can these 2 spaceships get attached to each other when they are moving? They are in moving direction, not they are stationary. By having stationary, the docking is very easy. Docking means connecting one satellite to another. This satellite is stationary or moving, another one have to dock with it. You have seen it in the movies also, which are related to the space movies. So docking is very necessary. Why? If there is one satellite which needs some kind of fuels, then how can that satellite utilize the other satellite or any other kind of international space station? So by docking they can actually link, the whole satellite can be linked with the another one or the international space station as well. Okay, this was about the docking and undocking. Now docking is expected in the first week in the January. So we will know that we have successfully demonstrated this experiment in space or not. And this mission, the docking and undocking, or having the Chaser and Target, these are not only 2 satellites which are going to go there with PSLV C-60. There will be 24 more orbital experiment modules along with this Space DX mission. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this session. There is another question also. Let's do this question. Very important question also. You can expect this question in your 2024 5's prelims examination. What is the primary objective of Space DX mission? So answer is and thank you, Hussain. Yes, the answer is demonstrating in space docking technology. Again, docking means attaching one satellite with the another satellite when these satellites are moving, right? Okay. So in moving position the satellites can dock. Undocking means removing one satellite, can detach from the other satellite. So it is again a good technology. Yes, everyone is right. The B is the correct answer, right? So I hope this today's session was fruitful for you all, and hoping to see you all tomorrow as well. Okay. So study hard and have a nice day.